Hello, Internetians. My name is Josh Player, and I am here again for another Draft League discussion video from my Twitter, which you can see right up there at UltraPlayer12. If you want to participate in these Twitter discussions and ask me questions as I post them, which is usually what's today, Thursday. I usually post them around Tuesday to give them a couple days to gather responses and everything. Follow me there on Twitter, or go check my Twitter every Tuesday, and you can see the new questions that I post. And I'll be doing these every single Friday, or until I eventually run out of ideas and replace the series. But I'm having fun with the series. Shout out to Owen and Matt, who helped, start it and eventually give me the idea to do it myself. So really, really happy. So yeah, go follow me on Twitter. Follow me or subscribe to me here on YouTube on my way to 500 subs, and leave a like on the video if you enjoy. I really would appreciate that. And let's get into it. I will warn you, if you do follow me on Twitter, fair warning, I tweet a lot of stupid shit. So I like anime. So fair warning, that's gonna be a thing. Anyway, let's jump into the question. So just like last week, I posted, and I have muted the thread. I've not seen any of these responses except for one, because it still popped up on my feed for some reason. But to piggyback off what Owen asked last week, when he asked what are some of the most overrated cores in Draft League, what are the most underrated cores to use in Draft League? I used, in NCP Season 5, I used Ferrothorn and Pex, Toxapex, and Mew, which is taunt bait and seen as generally bad, but I had a lot of fun with it. I think it did a lot of work. I think it forced a lot of prep and allowed me to take advantage of a lot of things. And I ended up going 6-4 with it. So had a lot of fun with that. So let's see what responses we have today. First thing I see is Magic Course in general. I don't think. Let me actually. Oop, nope, over here. Course in general, I don't think I've ever drafted a core. I had a duo except for Mega Gardevoir, Kartana, Alolan Marowak, but that's the only thing that really comes to mind. Really interesting there, because Alolan Marowak helps punch through those steals that are really going to be very annoying you, as well as some bulky psychics. Like Mew, Mesprit, Uxie could all handle both those mons. So having a Alolan Marowak there is really, really interesting for that. As well as yes, Mega Gardevoir helps punch through the Darks and Kartana the Waters, but in general, this is not your standard offensive core. But I do like it. It's really, really scary. It's a lot of threats just right there in your face immediately, and stuff that you get to prep for. Ooh, I'm blinking a lot. I'm very tired. It is very early in the morning. But I actually kind of like this. I think it's a very threatening thing to see immediately. Something that you're going to have to prep for a lot. Alolan Marowak, like I said, pressuring away the Psychics that are going to want to immediately deal with that, but even still, Mega Gardevoir helps punch through those too, and those Psychics usually don't have ways to repeatedly take on those hits, so I do think they wear each other's cores down really, really well. I like that. Not Suspect says, Mega Arrow plus Tapu Fini is something fun. Fini Sleek can honestly pair with just about anything. Funny enough, I've used this. I've actually used Arrow Fini. And the nice thing about it, this was before DD. This was back APA Season 5 with the multi-draft. I used Mew, Mega Arrow, Tapu Fini. I didn't get a lot of experience with it, but it did, it was pretty nice being able to pivot back and forth between them. Arrow really, really strong, and not really the mon that you really need to toxic stuff, because it's going to break through whatever it needs to most of the time. So it's okay to have that terrain there. It wasn't overall stand out amazing, but I did like it. I was weak to electric, but I had really good answers to that, so definitely a fun thing. I also paired it with Jolteon, Mew, like I said. I can't remember the ground that I had, but it worked pretty well. Mega Arrow Room, Tapu Fini, good stuff. Finishing it really can pair with a lot of things. I wouldn't say anything, a lot of things that won't have the status, I guess they're really not Lopunny anymore, which is the first thing I thought of. But stuff that likes to toxic, it's checks. Stuff that likes to, click dragon moves, not really Zygarde, but Haxorus and Latios, stuff that wants to put dragon moves on the field. But overall, it's not bad. Not bad. Snorlax plus Cofagrigus, amazing defensive synergy, and you can also get a Trick Room Memento on Kofag to get into Bellytron Lax. That's an offensive option. Lots of fun together. Yeah, I do like this. I really like this core. And both are like pretty bulky on both sides and can, while they generally like one takes physical and one takes special hits really well, they can both like take the other hits if they need, which is really cool. I do like this. Whew. There is obviously one weakness with it, but it's not really like that bad considering how bulky Kothag is, and that's stuff like Megalopony, Scrappy, in general. But overall, this is a really nice defensive core that just immediately screams, how obnoxious it is, because, Snorlax rests so easily, so Toxicking isn't always just the immediate option. You need something that just, like, naturally breaks through them, like a Pancoro or something. That is cancer. That is really cancer. So, maybe, like, a good Fairy for Witch Passing, and that's just, like, a super strong, cheap core that can handle whatever you need it to. Really like that core. Greninja plus Toad Swampert is my personal favorite dual water core. This provides so much fun with the team when paired together and don't overlap in terms of very roles. Swampert is the better in Gen 8, but you can't beat the classic Gen 7 Frog core. Yeah, Toad is really good in Gen 7. I loved having, like, Z Toad just because, like, you could Z refresh and stuff, and, like, it had, a lot of, coverage, so you could always just, like, pop something for random. But Greninja is also something I had a lot of fun with, but I was also, like, really bad with Greninja because I never got a lot of kills like a lot of other people did. But that's because I was always trying to put up spikes with it because I love fast offensive spike setters. But I agree with this. I was actually talking about Owen on the video he's about to post about that, how you can run dual water and it not be bad, so long as you're not, like, stacking the same month. Like, if you just Toad plus Swampert, that's obviously, like, really dumb. That's, like, super dumb. But I think the example I gave was Milotic plus Crawdont. Two very different mons who do two very different things and can be paired together so long as, you take care of the weaknesses later. But yeah, really like this. Having the bulky water in the back as well as an offensive water. That way you can spam Scald. Defensive waters, clicking Scald is really annoying because you got to find a Scald switch-in. But really your Scald switch-in isn't always the same thing as a water switch-in. Right? You can take weak Scalds and take the burn, and that's okay. But Specs Hydro is a whole different story. So, good suggestion by Ian right here. Spectre with Clefable and Scizor. After that, you can choose a solid fighting type. I had Komodo for the fire resistance, but most work. Throwing T-Spikes for overkill offensive core. Alternatively, take Lele over Clef so you can remove Spec's worry about priority. I wouldn't immediately be worried about Spectre's priority weakness, just because, like, it's not the weakest, the most frail mon ever. Sucker Punch is, of course, a thing, but, like, it's generally not weak to any other type of priority. Immune to Vacuum Wave and Mach Punch, neutral to Aqua Jet, Bullet Punch, stuff like that. Clef and Scizor I understand because it helps you get it in a lot. And it's really hard to defog against some of these mons. Getting up T-Spikes, I really like the idea of T-Spikes with Spectre. If you're going to go with Spectre, I 100% you say you need good T-Spikes or good statusers. A good fighting type, yeah, I definitely like. But I don't know if I really like Komodo as much. The reason why Spectre is always paired with Gallade is because of how immediate Gallade's strength is, as opposed to Komodo, who's strong, but not as strong as something like Gallade. But it's not bad in general. But you always, you want the fighting type to take out the normals, take out the darks. Mainly the normals, in my opinion. The darks aren't always the big problem. It's like super bulky. But I like to teleport U-turn into Spectre, constantly getting things poisoned over and over so you can click Hex much stronger, and then resist start going away. Really nice. I tried to use Spectre in the I tried to use Spectre in TBL and never got a chance because I only played one game. But eventually I'd like to use Spectre. I tried to use it in BBL too, but I got sniped. 55 report. Cheetah Dragazole is a fun mini sand core that can help teams while also filling roles like Rocker, Dark Ghost Resist, Way to Break, Bulky Waters, and they're also Final Mons on their own. Yeah, no, Cheetah Dragazole is really good. Like, really good. And it's fairly cheap as a sand core, and you don't have to, like, spend so many points and have to, like, constantly rely on it to come every single week. You can get other ways to break bulky waters with a good strong grass. And T-Tar in general, it's like a really, really good mon. I actually liked having that without the idea that it's always going to be my sand setter. It can be like a choice band breaker, it can be a Dragonite sweeper, get up rocks, stuff like that. Dracozolt, again, is also just like a fine mon on its own. Obviously, it's harder than Dracovish to really use because of how easier it is to switch in on Boltbeak. But still, Outrage can be pretty strong. Life Orb mixed Dracozolt, it's a really, really good set. Choice Scarf can be good if your ground type is kind of stuff like that. Yeah, no, definitely back Jesse on this one. This is really, really nice. OG Jobina. Come on. Grand plus of fat water, like Prim, Emperor, Rotom Moss, gives you the benefit of having fat water on top of having a Demon Grand to spike in everything's face and throw off massive hits. Yeah, no. Just to reiterate what we said with Ian up here. No, I love Grand plus fat water. Really, really good. And I love that he said spike. I love clicking spikes with Gren. I love clicking spikes with Gren. I have my league history doc over here. Hold on. Let me see here, because stats. Let me find my all-time stats, because like it's ridiculous how low Greninja is. Come on. God, there's so many mons I haven't used. It's so ridiculous how low Gren is, solely because it's like never gets kills. No, that's not it. God, Umbreon. I let Umbreon die a lot. Up. Okay, yeah, so I've used it 7 times. It's gotten 26 kills overall, but I've let it die 39 times. It's negative 13 differential, and that all just comes from the fact that I always just bring it in, and I click spikes. I don't click anything else. I click spikes, and they go, oh, let me just punch this thing. I'll take a hit. Trying to force something out, get at my spikes. But yeah, no, Gren plus Fat Water is really, really good. I need to get more Nat decks. I need to use Gren again. It's been a while. Fire off more offensive hits and less spikes. But yeah, I also like getting Gren with doubles, like another spiker. Just like I did with like Mew and Roserade in BBL, constantly being able to put up spikes. Good stuff. I like the other waters that he mentioned, like Rotom Wash is really nice, dual momentum given, or like Prim, dual momentum given water types like that. And these are actually stronger water types too, so unlike Size and Toad where it's just like a skull switching. I actually don't really like Rotom Wash because of what I mentioned earlier. Rotom Wash isn't bad, but I prefer something that has Scald, right? My goal is to have a Scald switching and then have them first a Scald switching and a water switching, unless they have like a really fat water, like Milotic or something. Double Horror, Spectre, Keldeo, hard to wall both of them. This just goes back into you always want a good fighting type of Spectre, which I agree. This one also gets Flip Turn, which is a really nice option, which you don't see on a lot of fighting types, is really good momentum. And being able to hit super, super hard, splashable on any team, unlike something like Passimian, which, I mean, Passimian's not bad, but... And it's also really, really strong, right? I think the interesting thing about Keldeo with Spectrier is that they're both special, so like special walls immediately become better. However, Secret Sword hitting on the Fizz Def side is a lot different, and a lot like it's really, really interesting because you can't just have like a fat Spadefmon try and wall them both. Like you got to have something that's physically defensive too. So yeah, that's actually really, really interesting. And then of course, you know, just flip turn on your Keldeo answer and go to Spectre and click funny haha button because Psychics get used a lot. I've seen for Keldeo switch-ins just because they're fat Psychics. Grass types usually can't handle Spectre that well. They're usually getting flip turned on, and you can either go out to something else or you can go out to Spectre and click Shadow Ball. Really, really good. Pangoro on top of any Momentum Core. I had it together with Rotom Wash, Talonflame, and Serena, which cover each other. And can all run Volt Switch or U-Turn on aggressive play. Some of your faster mons, you can stay within the core. On passive swaps, Pangoro comes in to claim a KO. Yeah, Pangoro is really, really strong. Like, Pangoro, like, I know everyone's just, like, up on our Shifu's nuts, but Pangoro's really, really strong. And it gets, like, knockoff, too. So instead of just, like, instead of the thing that you're going to instead of just like clicking Wicked Blow, Banded Wicked Blow, and think you're gonna get killed, Banded Knockoff, even if you're whatever you're switching is, like they have a good fairy that's going to switch in on something like Pangoro or Shifu, it's getting knocked off, which is knocked off, knocked off, knock off, knocked off, knock off. Comment of the day: is it knocked off or is it knock off? Too tired. It's too early in the morning for this. Anyway, knockoff is really nice, and of course, it also gets momentum with Parting Shot. Against Swords Dance really, really well, and break through unaware mons with that because Mold Breaker, Iron Fist is strong, etc. Really, really like this, especially for like a low tier offensive core. Because I think a lot of people like overlook the bottom mons. Constantly getting a Pangoro is really, really scary, especially if you have a good fairy resist like Talonflame. Yeah, Pangoro is super strong. Really good shit from Otto here. Spin. If any of you want to go watch this video, go find my Twitter, go find this tweet, go find this thing. I'll try and link it in the description, but I don't know if I'll remember that tomorrow. This is Liv got swept by Spinda plus Tangrowth because Spinda clicked Sunny Day and then like Memento or something and died and went out to Tangrowth, and it was Chlorophyll Tangrowth and she got messed up. And one day I meme picked Spinda and the same league I had a Tangrowth. And so, I almost did it. I almost gave her this. I think it was an APA. Like, I was like, alright, listen. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and reenact this for you. And I left it in on Scarf Kyurem. And my Digger died. So, big ol' rip. But that's what she's making this joke for. It's Chlorophyll Tangrowth plus Sunny Day Spinda. Very funny, haha. Well done, Liv. You're very funny. Great. Go follow Liv. She's very, very gay. So, Fran says, Hoes, Amazenta, and Ubers. They fit each other so well, and if you draft another steel that has more defensive like Skarmory, then you're good to just go ham with Stab CC, Zaman, Stab Raper, and with Ho. I fucking love it. In general, they cover each other's weaknesses really well. One thing that I gotta get the stigma out. Unless you have a really good Zamazenta switch in, you can run CC, Behemoth Bash, Rest, Sleep Talk, and be good. Like, that is an annoying mon in general. It's annoying to switch into, unless you have, like, a really, really good answer to it. It is extremely, extremely, extremely bulky, especially on the Fizz-Def side. And yeah, you're losing your defenses when you click Close Combat, but for the most part, I feel like you're clicking Behemoth Bash a lot more. And Zamazenta and Ho pair so well together. So well together. Oh my god, the defensive synergy is great. I love that. I want to try that core eventually. But, like, I also want Zamazenta to not be in Ubers when I do it. So, like, don't want to pay all that for Zamazenta. Maybe I'll try that next time I see BBL. I'm not sure. But I really like this core. This is a really nice core. All you need, in my opinion, is a really good water killer. I don't, like... Yeah, you could get the other defense steal, but I really think you need a super good water killer. If you get a really good water killer, this is a fucking A1 core. I guess you could also get something that like resists Edgequake, but at the same time, +1 Zamazenta is going to take Earthquakes and do whatever it wants to whatever it's doing. The hell? Okay, interesting one on this one. Mega Galate plus Gligar. I was not expecting anything like so random. But Soul and Lux make a very, very good points. Have special defense and Gligar has the defense. You still obviously want another Spadefmon, but regardless, knock off a Violet Bait. That's actually a really good point. Knock off a Violet Bait into pre-Mega Justified is really interesting because +1 Mega Galate is not something anyone really wants to deal with. Gligar in general, like I feel like a lot of these Violet mons have lost a lot of their usage. I don't see Gligar drafted as much. I don't see Golbat as drafted as much. Porygon 2 still, yeah, 100%. But I feel like these old middle of the road Violet Mons have just not seen the use that they have in the past. And Gligar has always been like a bitch of a Pokemon to deal with, just because you're either killing it or you're trying to set up on it. And as U-turn, so it can just U-turn out on you and stop you from setting up anyway. Gligar is such a bitch Pokemon. I always hated Gligar and Gliscor facing them. But a lot of good points here. Very interesting core. Not something that's expected, but that's kind of like what the point of the video was to... I have my mouse over here, like, highlighting on OPS instead of over here. But, like, very interesting stuff. This is the point of the video, is to get something like this. Mega Gallade plus Gligar, something you've never thought of. So, good job. I like that a lot. Ooh. Eevee Hydra. Have I used this? I feel like I have. I don't know if I have or not, but I want to use it now. Eevee Hydra is great. I can already tell you that's great. I used Eevee a couple times. What did I use Eevee with? Zard. Mega G-Max Zard. What was that team like? Did I have Hydra on that one? I'm starting to feel like I did. It was GDL. Yeah! Yeah, no, that was fucking dumb. G-Max Zard, Aegislash Hydra, Hatterene, Slurpuff, Tentacruel, Frostlass, Miltank, Piloswine, Sock, and Thwacky. Listen, I let Aegislash go fucking ham because of those mons. Hydra specifically, great defensive synergy, great offensive synergy. Whatever you need these two to do, they do it so well. This core let Aegislash get 18 kills in 10 weeks. Like, I'm messing people up with Aegislash. It lets Sword Stance be so good because you're constantly getting positioning well to force switches. Especially if you get another breaker, like I had Zard and I had like Frostlass and Sock to help me break open teams. It lets you position so well for an SD Aegislash sweep, or if you want to be a special specs Aegislash breaker, does really, really well. Obviously, Aegislash helps with Hydra too, but for the most part, I was running Hydra to get an Aegislash, not the other way around because of U-turn. Because I'm a Volt Turn like fanatic. I love Volt Turns so much. So like, don't judge me. But great stuff from Matt. Great stuff from Matt. 100%. 10 out of 10, Matt. You get a like, even though I'm not liking anyone else. Mega Gallade Aegislash is so fucking good. Mega Gallade is also a really good mon. Helps break through the dark types. Getting this core is a bitch, though. It's so hard to get this core, in my opinion. Because I feel like if you get Mega Gallade, you're early in the draft, and then Aegislash is gone by the time it gets back to you. If I could use it, I would. Add a good dark. Shit, if you can get these two, imagine these three Pokemon all together. Oh, that is just terrifying just thinking about it. Oh my god, I want to use these three so bad. Shout out to these two comments for being right next to each other. I want these three. This looks like the bitch offensive core. This looks like the scariest, most obnoxious hell horseshit offensive core I've ever seen. God, just looking at it pisses me off. Well done. Shout out to Matt and Iris. You get a like too. Hell yeah. This is a really good core there. Of course, like, the reason I started thinking Hydra is like you need a Ghost Resist for this. But this breaks through really, really well. Mega Gallade, obviously, is always well better than knowing Psychic types or Fairy types. And Aegislash is really good at pressuring those. I feel like this core specifically, though, allows Aegislash to be specs more often to break through those kind of mons. Come in, switch in on like the Fairy type that's trying to like handle Mega Gallade and just click Spec Slash Cannon, or God forbid Steel Beam, because if you're me. So yeah, really good stuff here. Glad we're getting some Aegislash hype. Let's go down. Mimikyu, Mamoswine, Gen 7. Mamoswine does some cool stuff like killing steals and chips everything into Z-Splash cleanup range. Actually, really potent. I'm gonna argue the Z-Splash one. I'm not a fan of Z-Splash Mimikyu, because I think I'm different with Z moves. I very rarely like Z status moves as much as SDing and clicking Z play rough. What's it called? Not Twinkle Tech. It's a special one. Let's Snuggle Forever or Never Ending Nightmare. Like, I prefer just like the Z stab, honestly, most of the time. That or like a really weird Z to catch something. But still, Mimikyu Mamoswine, that's really good. Mamoswine is one of those mons that just like never has switch-ins. And your priority spam. I also love priority spam. If you ever know me, I love having so many priorities on my team, so I can force like offensive teams like that to just like break through and then clean up a priority in the end. So I really like that. But Mamoswine breaking in general, not even just like steals, but just breaking in general, so that you can get Mimikyu in and clean up because of how easily Mimikyu sets up. Really, really like that. Gen 7 Mimikyu, I was all on that. I loved Mimikyu because it's so easy setup. It's so easy to sweep, especially with Z moves. Great mon. 100% great mon. Underrated as hell. Any 3 regenerator mons, take your picks and switch for days. Okay. I gotta back up Jesse. I gotta back up Jesse here. This is not an underrated core. Like, regen is a thing. Like, regen is a very common thing. A very, very common thing. I've used regen cores. Like, everyone's used regen cores. It's a thing. Tornpex Tang. Torn Glow King is literally the best example. These are 2 very obnoxious Pokemon to deal with. Tangrowth is fine to throw in. But, like, these 2 are, like, the things. Right here. Regen cores are a thing, though. Like, they're not underrated. But I do appreciate Vivid. He's really cool, and he's got a great first name. Love him to death. He's got a cat. Everyone go follow Vivid and tell him his cat's awesome. And also, I'm going to steal his cat. Thank you. Type Null is a core by itself, and it's underrated. But for real, you can literally play with damn near anything. It's a good defensive core. Type Null is... I don't think people understand how bulky Type Null is. Like, I've used Type Null as just like a random whatever I need resist. Like, whatever I need something to be stopped, unless it's a fighting type, Type Null, I promise you will stop it. It just doesn't have as much... it just doesn't have as much coverage as it... that could be helpful, but Icy Wind still, like, destroyed Landorus T. Whew. So who cares? Rest Sleep Talk, really, really good. Type Null is such a stupid mon that people do not fucking look at enough. Like, it has, like, the same bulk as Porygon 2, guys. Like, it's a good mon. U-Turn, Rest Sleep Talk, Sword Stance, Crush Claw, Shadow Claw. Like... Toxic, it's a good mon, and it's always like super cheap. Like, Type Null, please God. Oh, I'm doing it again. Please God, draft Type Null more often. Like, it's a good mon, I promise you. I know what Matt said. Alright, I already know what Matt said, because this is like the one that I saw. Moltres Swampert. And, yeah, no. Moltres Swampert, great. Love them. Cover each other really well. Really good, slow Volt Turners. Getting in and out into each other or something else. I love these 2 to death. The only thing I say is they get a good, like, ice resist, because, like, LOL, like a Vanillix or a Kyurem trying to break through this team. Very, very easy. But I love Moltres Swampert. Cheap, good, strong core. Very, very nice. Very nice. And they also have, like, they also feel like a lot of roles. Like, of course, the bulk Volturn. Swampert is such a great Gloomon. I love using Swampert. It's so good. It's so good. So good. Moltres can be whatever you really want. Pivot into whatever mon is super threatening. Mystical Fire is great support. U-Turn, Will-O-Wisp status, Defog. You got rocks over here. Like I said, double Volt Turn. And Moltres in general is just like offensively really, really strong. Like, Specs Moltres. I feel like people like lock it in a boot so often now because like obviously it's the best item. But like I feel like people don't give enough attention to stuff like Specs or Scarf. Or I used Power of Solar Beam one time. Like, really, really good stuff. Alright. Moltres, Vaporeon, Registeel. Yo. This is a fun core. This is, like, kind of piggybacks off what I was saying earlier. About how, like, you can be free with Moltres, do whatever you want. Double Flip Turn. I do like Swampert a little bit more than Vaporeon Registeel. Because that's, like, a very passive core in a very offensive metagame. But overall, really, really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. I love these 3 going together. They don't pair as well, I think, like I said, as Swampert, Moltres does just by itself. So, it's not amazing, but I definitely think that it's, looking at it, unless you have something really, really good, like I guess like Tapu Koko is good at breaking through it. And then something to punish Registeel. Really good. The good thing about having Swampert is that unless the Pokemon has Grass Knot, like, it's not as easy to click Volt Switch and be a threat as often. Obviously, everyone's going to draft a ground type, but like, I don't like being so immediately weak with my core to Volt Switch. I hate being weak to Volt Switch. Anyway, a lot of good responses. Appreciate everyone who took the time to respond, give their reasonings and everything. Really like this. I think my favorite one was, of course, the Aegislash ones. I'm a big Aegislash simp. I love this Pokemon. I think it's so good. I think it's really underrated. It's so good. I want to use it again now. But I appreciate everyone for responding. Of course, follow me on Twitter so you can, of course, participate in the next one. I will take a couple days to think of the next one, and I'll post it on Tuesday again. Tuesday, probably like 4 p.m. is when I post these. So keep an eye out for that. If you have any suggestions for any questions, if you have anything that you want to see me talk about, of course, leave it in the comments below. And that's it. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.